Uh-oh. I set my alarm for the wrong time. We are late for something. What was I doing this morning? I can't remember. Oh no, I'm supposed to be recording. Oh man, I've got to get to the office. We've got a video to make. Learn to drive, mate. Get out of the way. Coming through. Man, what is with the traffic today? G'day folks, it's Cortezerino. I thought it was about time I made another mini-game. So I've made two really good mini-games so far. I've made PacMan and Space Invaders. So I like to base them off older board games or old video games. So I was thinking about Operation. So I was playing with some ideas, but I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. So my younger viewers might not remember this one, but there was a very old game called Frogger. So I was playing with some ideas for that, and I still kind of want to make something out of this. But I got distracted again because I got to the Frogger part where he has to jump across some logs that are moving in the water. And I was playing with some mechanics for that, and I sort of came up with something else. So basically in Frogger, he jumps across the road, dodging cars, and then he gets to some logs that are floating back and forth in the water, and he's got to jump his way across and get to the end. So to make the logs floating in the water, I was going to use pistons on top of observer blocks, just with a randomizer, so the logs would rise up and then go down again. Now this is going super quickly. This wouldn't work for Frogger, but I thought it was pretty cool as a dodging game. So we're just going to stand on the road and dodge the cars that randomly appear. Now this isn't, this was the inspiration for my new game, but just finding something like this, you go, oh yeah, this is cool, this is a game. No, there's a lot more that goes into it than this. See, this thing's tiny. This is sort of what I came up with, because there's a lot of things that have to happen in a mini game. There's what happens when you win, what happens when you lose, how it resets, how quickly it resets, and all the things that can go wrong, and having to devise redstone systems to deal with those things. You've got to think of every every eventuality that could break the game, and you got to deal with it. Now, also, that randomizer system that I thought of here, this isn't what I went with in the end, because the problem with this one, like we've got droppers here with 9 items inside, only one of them is going to send out a signal great enough to launch a car. But it's far too random. See, sometimes we'll get 2 appear right next to each other and you get a massive Humvee coming at you. And every now and then, every single piston's going to rise up and you've got no way to dodge it. So I didn't actually want to go with a randomizer, and this took me a couple of days to figure out. And I might just rig this thing up quickly so you can see how it works. This is what I was experimenting with to get that one working over there. And I need immovable blocks under them. Give me a minute. So this is how I worked out my random signals in the end. I've just got a hopper chain that runs round and around, and I've got 3 items inside. Now, one thing I didn't like about that simple design with just randomizers, you could get 2 cars appear side by side, and I didn't like that. So when these wooden shovels run around this hopper chain, I've just got I don't even know what I'd call this, a divider. So when one shovel passes through, a little pulse extender starts up and it stops the next one coming through for a little while. So we make sure we always get shovels separated so we don't get 2 cars side by side and get this massive wall coming at us. It sometimes happens on the very first car, but otherwise it's not too bad. So we just let them run round and round. You can see them running there and they're keeping nice and separate, but when we flick the lever, it turns it off and locks it in place. And then we also get a bunch of slime blocks come up, and that allows the signal to pass through, because otherwise every time it passed through a hopper and the comparator lit up, we'd get a signal going through there, and we don't want that. Now if you just let it run through like this, we only get 1 car at a time. But as soon as you start stopping the clock, then we start getting extra cars at the same time. So that's pretty cool. The only thing is I've got a clock that sort of stops this every now and then to shoot a car off, but it is predictable. These will follow a pattern. So rather than try and randomize this completely, I came up with something else, because if you were really paying attention, you could see that every 10 cars or so, the pattern reset, and you could sort of predict what was coming at you. So I came up with a cool little clock. So rather than turn this off at regular intervals, I've got a clock that randomizes how fast it turns. And I might just look over there so I can see how to build it, and I'll build another one for you. So first of all, I want to put one of these bad boys in, because when you send a signal through here, you want it to be a short signal. So it only goes up and down for a little while, otherwise you get these really long limousines coming at you. So with one of these we get nice short cars, and you'll notice the redstone dust also comes up here, so it locks the item in that hopper while this is raised. Otherwise, yeah, we'd get multiple signals as it continues to run through. But here is the clock design, and I've forgotten how to build it. See, normally a clock would look something like this. It pulses at the exact same rhythm every single time, and that ends up giving me a slightly predictable output of my cars over there. So to randomize the clock, I basically put in a dropper randomizer. So I've got a dropper facing straight up into a hopper, and inside of that dropper I've got one item that'll put out a signal strength of 3 once it's in the hopper, and then just any old sort of item that's only going to put out a signal strength of 1. So I just run that signal back around to here. So if we get that slab pop up out of here, we only get a short delay on the clock, because it runs through this repeater on a 1 tick delay. But if the shovel pops up, it runs through the repeater on the 4 tick delay. And that cycle of the clock will still be a short one, but the next one will take a little bit longer, because that torch will stay turned off for longer. So it takes a while for the clock to start up again. So it's a barely noticeable difference, but it's just enough to keep this nice and random. So we still get cars the way we want them, still separate from each other. We never get two popping up right next to each other, but it's still random enough to keep you moving around. So I thought that was a pretty cool design. But I'm not going to go into how the entire thing works right now. There's a lot to it. It's taken some designing, and I sort of challenge myself. I try and keep it reasonably compact. Like I could revisit this later, and if I do a tutorial, I will revisit this and make it smaller. But I tried to keep it like somewhat compact. You can see no redstone comes out beyond this line here, so I try to keep it nice and small so you can dig a hole and bury it. And then this would be the ground level, so people could stand above and watch the game. And oh, there's a lot more to it than cars. Let's start this thing. See, if you hit a car, or if a car hits you, it'll raise you up into these pieces of string up here and hit the tripwire, and that ends the game. But you'll see I've added a few more features to it, and we're not going to play it just yet. But you see, here are the cars coming at us. But like, this is pretty easy. We've got plenty of time to react. But every, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds or so, we start running out of room. So you see these lights come on to warn you to move forward, and the next bit comes up here, so you have to move forward, and the track just keeps getting shorter and shorter. So if you do end up getting hit by a car and you hit the tripwire, you hear it boom boom, and the game is going to reset. And it still needs a little bit of tweaking. This is one of the things I was talking about, all the possible things that can go wrong. So this thing tried to reset, but there was a car coming through, and that caused it to break. And I don't know where the problem is. Is the problem over here? No, you should have worked properly. See, I've got two systems in place to stop this from breaking. Basically, I need to, when the game's over, before this thing resets and all these long lines of extended pistons start moving, I need to stop the cars, and I need to stop them in time, because if one's already running, it takes a little while to get to the end. And let's try and break it again. So I'll hit the tripwires. Here comes the car. Yep, see, that one stopped in time. So I've got two systems in place to stop that from stop it from breaking. One of them is right here. See, these pistons will raise up depending on an item that I've got in this hopper chain. So when I want to reset the game, I basically unpower this piece of dust, which is controlled by this piston, and I've got a long delay of repeaters. And to fix this, I might just have to extend that delay. But also, as soon as you hit a tripwire, I've got a piston over here. You can see it's extended. Let's get a better view. See, I've got our slime blocks right here, and they're attached to this block. So every time the slime blocks go up, this block goes up. But as soon as you hit a tripwire, this piston extends straight away, and that forces our slime blocks basically to stop working. And if they don't come up, a car signal cannot get through. Now I've got that engaging as quickly as possible, and I've got it on a bit of a pulse extender to keep it out there. But yeah, it didn't seem to work that time, so I might just have to add a bit more of a delay right here, I think. What are we going to do? We're going to do something like this. I'll put the torch there instead. We don't need that piece of dust anymore. Put a block on the torch's head, and let's add an extra repeater. And let's see if that is a little bit better. See, the first car can be a nice big wide one. Ooh, we got 2 rays up there. That's not what I wanted. Now this game, because there are so many moving parts, server lag may or may not kill it. So I had thought about building this thing way out at my oh, here we go, we lost. Way out of my charge creeper farm where there's not much in the way of lag going on. But if it's all the way out there, no one's going to play it. So I kind of want to risk it getting broken by lag and build it in the city. So we need a location for that, but I also want to figure out what is going on. Do I know what the problem is? I think I know what I did. I extended the delay up here to control this piece of dust locking these hoppers. So basically I've got an item sitting in this hopper here, and when I start the game, rather than getting stuck in this first hopper, it's making its way to the second. Because I increased that delay, so that means I've got to increase my delay down here that controls unlocking that hopper. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but I think we might have found the solution to this little problem here. Yes! Lovely! So like I said, I want to build this somewhere in the city rather than all the way out at the charge creeper farm. We're going to risk it getting killed by server lag, but I want it in a place that could actually, where people are actually going to see it and want to play it. So one option is out here at my PacMan game, which is all the way out in Factorium, if we can find it. Where did I build this thing? Somewhere around here. Ah, there we go. There's the PacMan. I haven't been here in a while. It's pretty scary sounding. Got a lot of zombies down here. I should cull a few of these guys. This game would be a little bit hard to win with this many in here. So putting another game out here would be good because it's an excuse for people to come out and play PacMan. But yeah, this is the problem. PacMan is sort of all the way out in the middle of nowhere. I've got a zombie spawner in there, so I had to build it all the way out here because this is the only spawner I could find. But yeah, same problem as building this out at my... Am I going to be able to take off? Building it out the charge creeper farm. It's sort of out in the middle of nowhere. Can we take off, please? I'm so jealous of people that can do this. My connection's just not good enough. Come on. Are we going to make it? No, we're still not flying. Are we flying? We're flying! Yay! So yeah, not much is happening all the way out here at Factorium. So yes, if I built this road game out here, it'd be another reason for people to come out here, but I want it somewhere people are going to play it. So I think maybe Factorium isn't the best place for it. So another option, and one I might actually go with, is over here at the crashed airship, because it's reasonably central. I don't know how many people sort of come out here apart from me, but I've already got Space Invaders here. So I could build it down there somewhere, or inside the ship even, so you can come down, you can play Space Invaders, and you can play the Dodgems game, the Dodge in the Car game. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. It's still not super central. I don't know how many people sort of come out in this area. Let's take off. Yes, we made it. So what I would really love is to build it inside the walled cities, because apart from my elytra launchers in the road, I haven't built anything inside the walled city, and but I don't particularly want to build a huge skyscraper just to house my game. Let's find a bit of a place where we can have a look around. It's that time of day when the clock tower plays the Back to the Future theme. I get pretty lucky with that. It's always seeming to play when I'm up here. But what I would love to do is build my game at the ground floor of one of these skyscrapers. So you go in the door and there's the game. But I think pretty much all of these have a purpose already. So I sent out a bit of a call to some of the guys saying, you know, have you got a skyscraper that's basically just an external build, just to be looked at from the outside, and you'd like the game in there? And Gexo responded. He'd be happy to build one for me, but you know, I don't really have time to wait for a whole new skyscraper to rise up. So I haven't heard back from Hodag yet. I don't know if he's putting anything inside of his big building over here. Gee, this thing's massive. Like, did he have anything planned for this floor? I'm not sure. This game would fit in here quite easily, so maybe here would be... the other good thing about this is I wouldn't have to dig out all the area for all the redstone. It's already pretty much dug out. So, oops. Oh, we got beasties down here. No, he's lit up the place. Pretty good. So I'm going to try and get in touch with Hodag. Maybe we can build it. Oh, man. It had to be that height. Maybe we can build it in here. We'll see about that. Otherwise, I think every other building will have a purpose. I would have heard back from BC already if I could build it in here, and that might not be wide enough anyway. But I think if we don't hear back from Hodag about building it inside of his building over there, then we may be building it out at the crashed airship. So I've made a few tweaks to the game. The lights come on just before we have to move forward. Before they were coming on a little bit too early, and gosh, we've run out of room here. We must be getting very, very close to the final lap. The final lap is basically impossible. You have to dodge on instinct, and you need a little... Oh, final lap. The light's on the middle. You need to dodge on instinct and have a little bit of luck as well. Whoa. Can we do it? I wanted this to be near impossible because... no. I just clipped him. I heard the doo-doo. So, yes, it is possible to win, but it's very, very difficult. Whew. So I've started tweaking the design already to get it a little bit smaller, get rid of some of the unnecessary redstone. You remember I had this line of repeaters on delay coming over here, controlling when this item was released from that hopper. So instead of having a second bunch of repeaters, I've just continued it off this line down here, so that controls that now, and I'm sure there are a bunch of other places where I could get rid of unnecessary redstone and make it more compact. But we have to build this on a server and make sure it works on a server before I do a tutorial for you guys. So Hodag got back to me. He's happy for me to build it in his building. But he was explaining to me that his building is going to be like a music shop. So I'm not sure that this this would be... I think it'd be out of place there, but we may still build it there. Although because I'm in the mood for building mini games, I'm probably going to come up with a few more. So maybe we might build a carnival area out near the crashed airship. I don't know yet, but we'll find out next episode, guys. So cheers from me. I'm Cortezerino. Sorry about the redstone heavy episode, but I tend to do that from time to time. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.